So I'm Lynn, and I'm Senior Director at Willis Watson. And for the last 20 years, I've been helping large companies improve engagement, improve culture, improve the way people work, create better workplaces. Yeah, so I've seen what organisations are interested in change over that time.
Yeah.
So it used to be companies who would run satisfaction surveys, and then it moved towards surveys more focused on commitment, as people realised talent was increasingly important to the business, and then engagement, which gets, for me, really at the connection that people have to their organisation, whether they're proud to work for their company, whether they're advocates for the company, and whether they bring their best ideas and thinking to their employer. And we've also seen that shift over time. Increasingly, organisations now are also interested in, actually, are you creating sustainable engagement, where not only have people's extra effort, but you're creating conditions where they can work simply and sustain their level of energies over time as well. That's always an area where we've taken the work because, in organisations that don't have strong engagement programs, it's seen as an HR activity, and where really it's around business improvement. So we've looked for a long period of time at how engagement impacts customer outcomes, operational performance, things like turnover, things like absenteeism, and making that connection and doing that kind of analytics elevates a survey from a HR exercise to one around continuous improvement.
Yeah.
I think if there's one thing that has been a thread throughout my career, it's been this idea of how you build trust. And in many organisations, there's quite low trust. And that's a real problem for getting people to speak up and express their opinion. And I think that's important in lots of small ways. Right? So whether you've got a great idea that you keep to yourself, whether you see a problem and you don't raise it. And so where we see psychological safety being really important is in, for example, safety research, where sitting on your hands can lead to really dangerous outcomes.
Yeah.
But I think one of the problems is many managers and leaders assume people just speak up, right? One reason they're a manager or a leader is because they have.
Yeah.
But actually, you have to work hard to get people to express their opinions openly and honestly.
Yeah.
And that requires an architecture for listening, if you like, but it was a lot of behavioural side to that, making it comfortable for people to speak up. And so I think psychological safety is a huge, huge focus for many organisations. Yeah, so the main thing is, I think it takes a long time and you have to work hard. And so that means building in moments where you collect insights, but it also means managers and leaders being open to people's feedback, and that's often the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Many managers, leaders think they have to be the answer people, right? They've been promoted because they're the smart people who know the answers, but actually it's probably more important to make it open up a conversation, to involve people in decision making, and to give people a chance to put their ideas forward. Some of the big pitfalls that you see are, shooting someone down, right? Or shooting the messenger, and avoiding things like that is really critical. So one of the things I'm always interested in is the idea of getting a systemic kind of improvement in engagement, because a lot of engagement programs can lead to lots of small activities across teams, but in order to, for a large company, really improve engagement, you need to identify those sort of systemic opportunities for giving an overall lift. And in my experience, one of the most important processes, if you like, is performance management. And that's thinking about performance management quite broadly. If you do that, then it's a moment when lots of things come together, right? So as an employee, I'm getting feedback. We're discussing goals. Maybe it's a chance to talk about my career. Maybe it's a chance to talk about other things I might be interested in. That's a critical process to get right. And some of the things that lead into that are things like systems and tools, but actually the behavioral point is absolutely critical. Managers doing that in the right way. And many organizations are looking at how they can reinvent or improve performance management, because it's probably a process that can have the broadest impact on engagement overall. So I'd look at a process like that.
Yeah.
And the second thing is around capability, and the key capability is your frontline manager. Caring about people in their team, knowing the people in their team, being interested in the people in their team, and being good at managing people. And many organizations put people into people management roles who aren't. Yep. You promote your best salesperson to be your sales manager. Yeah. And so actually from the outset thinking, what do we need in that people manager role to really enable best performance is a critical capability as well. I think a lot of these changes are small changes. Right? I think snowball over time.
Right.
And I'm a big believer that actually small changes can have a big impact. Yeah? And actually small changes, for example, like performance management, building in better, more frequent feedback, can have a huge overall impact on engagement. I think the other thing is to understand some of the changes you've made, the impact they've had, and to share those success stories. So I think in companies where engagement programs aren't having the same impact, it's because they're not collecting those success stories and sharing them. And managers learning from other managers who've made small changes that have had a positive impact just leads to a huge shift over time.
Yeah.
So I think many organizations are shifting from an employee engagement perspective to one that's focused on employee experience.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a hugely exciting opportunity to build trust and reinforce trust. And it means very different things, but for me, employee experience is more of a bottom-up view of the organization. And it allows you to take a much more holistic view of how you can improve performance and create a better workplace.
Yeah.
And so there's lots of things in that shift. Partly it's HR taking more of a sort of consumer lens on employees. It's partly new sources of data, not just coming from surveys, but from other data sources you have. And it's also understanding that actually you can make changes across the employee life cycle that can improve engagement, retention, and business outcomes. And so for me, this is a really exciting sort of moment in the field of employee engagement, if you like. We're moving from quite a sort of static, rigid approach to much more ongoing, bottom-up, empowering approach to performance. And many companies I work with are really focused on what that means to their people strategy and their business strategy, how they listen, how they involve employees, how they analyze results, how they act on those results is a big transformation.